right,
Hi, folks. This is Melvin Colon. I'm the chair of the Hartford School Building Committee. I'd like to welcome you to our monthly meeting. We will have a discussion in the next several weeks as to how long we will continue to do these virtual meetings or these video conference meetings. But today, of course, we are doing this video conference format. That affects our ability to take comments from the public. So as you'll see on the meeting agenda, just make sure and pull that up. We welcome comments from the public. There's a couple of ways you can do that. Whichever platform you're using, you can write comments into the comments section, and our technical partner here, Stan, will check when we come to item number 3 on the agenda. You can also send me an email, and I will check my email at that address, mcolon@sinainc.org. So just those notes, and with that, welcome again, and we will begin. I call the meeting to order, and we will begin with a roll call of members. And that will be done by Tony Little.
Okay, good afternoon. Mr. Melvin Cologne.
Present.
Mr. Thomas Clark II.
Present.
Dr. Leslie Torres. Mr. Claudio Bazzano. Ms. Kim Oliver. Mr. Craig Stallings.
Present.
All right, with 2/3 of the members present, there is a quorum. Thank you, and good afternoon.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda are the minutes from our last meeting, April 26th. Are there any questions on the minutes? Any comments? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved. TJ Clark.
Second.
Second. Craig Stallings.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Abstentions? Nays? Abstentions? All right, the minutes are approved. So here we come to the public participation part of the meeting. I will check my email, but Stan, do we have any comments on the? No comments? I remember at the last meeting we had an emoji, but we don't have emojis either, I guess. Very good. Okay, I don't have any comments on my email, but I will be checking throughout the meeting just in case. And I will also ask Stan at the end of the meeting to report whether or not there were any comments. Let's move on to administrative items. Are there any? I don't have any administrative items, except of course that we do need to discuss when we go back live. Are there any other administrative items?
no, sir, none today.
Very good. Well, then let's move directly into the meat of the meeting, the actions that we need to take today. And we'll ask Mr. Butkus, are you leading us in this review?
Yes, I am. First action item today concerns Weaver High School. It's change order number 52 to Newfield Downs in the amount of $7,319. These items consist of some bond reconciliation costs for a subcontractor, as well as some remedial work that was on the punch list. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you. Are there any questions? And just everybody, the members, the voting members of the committee should have a package. It was sent with the meeting invitation. If you want to, if you need to read further. But are there any questions about this change order? Any comments? If not, then motion to approve.
Move, TJ
So
Clark.
moved. Oh,
Okay,
second,
move.
Greg Stallings.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions? All right, this motion passes.
Thank you. Next item up is change order number 6 to Towns Construction for the MLK project. Total value of this change order is $15,716.58. The items contained herein are related to catching up on some older change orders and some closeout items. With my pane open, I couldn't see the number. As shown here, again, $15,716.58. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
And there will be status reports for each of these. We're certainly very near completion on MLK, but we will hear a status report on MLK after we do the action items. Any questions on this change order? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So move, TJ Clark.
Second, Greg Stallings.
All right, the motion has been, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions? All right, this motion is passes. Next motion, next item.
Thank you. Next item up is change order number 7 to Pioneer Builders for the work at Burns School. This is to add a sump pump in the crawl space, take care of some groundwater issues. That value here is $14,052. This has also been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Any comments or questions on this item? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved, Greg Stallings.
Second,
Thank you,
TJ Clark.
Motion is made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions? All right, this motion passes. Next item, please.
Thank you. Next item, purchase order increase number 1 to RNB Enterprises for Burns School. This is an increase in the amount of $273 for an additional smartboard mount. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you. Any questions about this item? Comments? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So move, TJ Clark.
Thank you.
Second, Greg Stallings.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? This motion passes. Next item.
Next is presentation by the architects and a vote to approve the construction documents for the renovation work at Burns School. After today's meeting and the hoped for approval of the documents, we will go to the Office of School Construction Grants and submit the documents for their acceptance, which will permit us to go out to bid. If this is approved, then we will go to bid as soon as signed off by the state, and then we will report the findings of the bids to the HSBC after review and approval by the bid review committee. So I'd like to turn this over to Paul at Silver Petroselli.
Jack?
Yes.
All right. Before you do so, could you just say a word about the bid review committee and the community, the community members and the process that brings this to us before the process that happens before it comes to us?
Okay. Bid review committee is the dual identity of the folks who also serve as the change order committee. The permanent members are Chairman Colon, Claudio Bazzano from from the district and Frank Della Ripa from Public Works. The alternate member of that committee is Nat Gale from the mayor's office. This group meets typically twice a month to review change orders and go into depth in the details before they come monthly to the building committee. They also, as I mentioned, serve a dual purpose, put on another hat as the bid review committee and look into the details behind the bids as they come in for various portions of work, be they construction, review of professional services, or as we get further into the projects with furniture and technology purchases. So again, they look at all the nuts and bolts details in order to streamline the monthly meetings.
Thank you.
All right, Paul, you ready to share something?
Yes, I am. Let's see, I'll go to my screen share and it says I'm disabled right now. So someone, Jack, if you have that capability,
All right, well, how does one do that? That's a good question. I haven't had that limitation in the past.
I know Toya has done that in the past when she's hosted.
Can you make them co-host?
Okay. Okay, Paul, you should have access. Let's try again.
Great, thank you, Jack. Okay, my screen is up. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and building committee members. It's great to be with you today. I'll give you a brief recap of where we are in the process with the Burns renovation project. We, as Jack said, we're currently in review with the local building official, fire marshal, and health department with their drawings, and are preparing next week to go to the state with the set to go for their review. So what you have in front of you is the cover of the project, and just to remind you, a recap, we are not planning any additions to the building. It is truly a renovation of the existing building. So what you see in front of you is the existing Burns building. We have a new entrance for Hartford pre-K program, which is going or has moved into the building recently and is being fitted out this south wing on the first floor for them, and a new entry. Their main office is on the south side of the building. We also are adding a secondary special education entrance on the west side of the building. And then, of course, on the opposite side, we are keeping the existing main entrance. At each of these entry points, we are providing a secure, fortified vestibule that will be used by these different programs. So I'll start. You've seen this slide before. This is the concept for the site plan. And again, we're adding the entrance off Putnam for the Hartford pre-K program. We are redoing the handicap parking and the paving in the front for the Burns main entrance. And we are adding the stairs and ramp system for the special education program on the west side of the building. Fast forward to today. This is one of about a dozen site plans we have for the project that details the paving, the plantings, all the details for the site work, including this new ramp system on the west side and this new circulation on the south side of the building. Again, this is from our construction document set. So we are replacing, while we're doing a full roof replacement on the building, we are replacing all the doors and windows on the facility, modernizing the envelope of the building, also repairing any of the brickwork. The brickwork's in very good condition in the school overall, so there will be very little of that to do. To recap the programming of the building, as I just mentioned, we have the three major programs. We have the Burns School, the Hartford Pre-K, and also the special education program. So this is going through the programming. The light blue here is the Hartford Pre-K. On the south side, we have main office remaining where it is by the main entrance. We have kindergarten, first grade, adjacent to.
Excuse
the
me,
Hartford
Paul.
Pre-K. Yes.
Yeah, can I ask all that are not the presenter to please mute your microphones?
Thank you, Jack. To continue on, we have the gymnasium and auditorium spaces, which again are being renovated in the project. We have some of the administrative spaces, and then on this west side, there is a new special education program on the west side of the building, which with a separate entrance that comes off of the parking. To continue on the second floor, we have the upper grades of Burns with some administrative spaces. Also, the pink are special education iGoals program, which is currently at Burns, that are being renovated as well. We also have some flex rooms, and they are used by for the bilingual program and other programs as well. And then in the lower level, we have facilities and maintenance, boiler room spaces. We also have electrical spaces for the new service that's coming into the building. We have a security office. We have other offices that are currently on this lower level. We are redoing the kitchen in its entirety, and we've worked with the food service staff with the Hartford Public Schools on the redesign of that, and then renovating the cafeteria. We've shown previously interior finish concepts for the school, and we have a slight variation depending on where you are in the building. We wanted to have a different theme for different areas, and that would help allow us to distinguish different portions, whether it's the main entry part of the building or the pre-K part of the building. And there are just slight differences between these areas. We have the El Campo theme, El Pueblo theme, and La Playa theme. And now where we are currently working with the project construction manager, PDS, we have worked with them on construction phasing plans, because as you know, this renovation is happening in a fully occupied building. So we're taking small portions of the building to renovate over an extended period of time. And we've worked with PDS on a full schedule, showing the first renovation phase and then running the renovation out a full 30 months, which was the original plan. And we're taking sections of the building in this bar chart schedule. And this is also coordinated with plans of the building. And these plans were developed by PDS, showing, and you can see the chunks of the building, the small areas of the building that we'll be renovating at any time. So we'll renovate those areas, we'll separate them from the school operations, so there won't be disturbance between operations of the school and the construction area. Safety is our primary concern with this, and we have gone over these plans with the building official and fire marshal, talked about the phasing of the project. So we will be separating out the construction areas from the operating school. And we have the second floor plan shown, again, color coordinated with the schedule that was developed by PDS, and then the lower level as well. And that's currently where we stand with the project, awaiting approval from the local officials and then the state. And then I'll turn it back to you, Jack, and to the committee for any questions.
Thank you, Paul. Does the committee have any questions?
I think,
Madam Chair, we got this presentation at the board already, so thank you.
thank you. And I think that we've seen, I think that Paul also referred to prior presentations. We've seen some aspects of these of this design already, so that a lot of it is familiar to us. So I don't have any questions. Councilman Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have seen a few of the examples of the reconstruction of the building. It looks good. I would like to ask, classes will not be interrupted while construction is going on. That is correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And when is the projected completion of the renovation?
The beginning of 2024. It's 30 months long. So we're looking at, well, obviously at the end of this year, 2021, 22, 23, and then the beginning of 24 is the completion.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Do we know how many buses actually come in and out of this school building?
There are, we've been told there are 2 full-size buses that currently use Putnam Street as their drop-off, the residential street on the side of the building.
Okay, so this is still a more of a neighborhood school, so the majority of the students will be, walking, or parents, guardians will be dropping them off.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Motion to approve.
So move, TJ Clark.
Thank you.
Second, Craig Stallings.
Excellent. Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Objections, abstentions? All right. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Our next item, a business action item for Sustainable Engineering Solutions, a purchase order increase regarding Buckley Central Administration. When we solicited for commissioning services for the Buckley campus, there was a possibility that a new field house would be constructed, and all respondents gave us an alternate to their proposals to take on the additional work of a new field house. When that was determined not to be feasible, the plan reverted to what we now know is we're calling, under the project type, Central Administration. We'll be producing some small additions to the building itself, and then a new food service building we're calling the commissary. As that scope of work is measurably less than the scope of work for a new field house, we requested a proposal from SES to add the work for the commissary to their contract in lieu of exercising the alternate for the field house. Understandably, that number is much smaller than the number would have been for a full field house. The cost of that additional work is $65,000. Where I should say we had a budget in the central administration portion of the budget for $65,000. Their proposal is in the amount of $41,800, which means we are $23,200 under our budget for these services for the commissary. So this has been reviewed and approved by the bid review committee / change order committee, and we ask the full HSBC's endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. And for those members of the public who may wonder what commissioning services are, can you just give a 1 sentence, 2 sentences on what we mean by commissioning services?
Under the state's high performance building guidelines, we need the professional services of a third party who is neither the constructor nor the designer of record for the building systems, as well as the building envelope, meaning the skin of the building, in order to verify that not only is the project being constructed in technical detail to the construction documents, but also that it meets the state's guidelines for energy efficiency. So this is a measure that pushes us to be more efficient than the building code requires, and is a stipulation in the school construction grant funding statutes that we do better than baseline in order to have the benefit of state dollars on the project.
Thank you very much. It's very helpful. Any questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I just had one quick question.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, sorry.
Forgive me. This is Craig Stallings for the record. So we are proposing moving the commissary out of, I think it's Airport Road, and permanently on the Buckley campus.
That is correct.
Awesome. No more questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Um, any other questions or comments? Very good. Motion to approve? Folks are muted, so just in case. Motion to approve?
So moved, TJ Clark.
Thank you. Second?
Second, Craig Stallings. Sorry, I was muted.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Objections? Abstentions? All right, this motion passes. Thank you. Next item.
Thank you. Next item is an item that covers two projects, both Buckley renovation and Buckley Central Administration, and you'll see a similar action for Burns following. Builder's risk insurance is an insurance policy that the owner purchases for each of the construction projects. Over the last several weeks, solicitations for insurance policies were sought in concert with the City and Board of Ed risk management folks. And there is a proposal in a total value of $412,176 that will be split between the Buckley and Burns, the Buckley High School and Buckley Central Administration projects, since we're working under two project numbers and have two grant numbers. The cost is apportioned between the areas of work. The budget under Buckley High School had been set aside as $300,000. The cost for the insurance that's attributable to the renovation of the school itself is $378,000. So we're asking not only for approval, but to move $78,445.44 out of contingency to bolster that line item value. And then there is an additional amount that's attributable to the central administration portion, which included the Board of Ed offices. So some of that money was spent while we were renovating the offices for the board. We have $28,000 left in that budget, and the cost under this new policy is $24,730.56, which leaves us a small balance of $3,400 and change in the central administration budget. But the aggregate amount of this purchase order to the insurance company will be $412,176. This has been vetted through the risk management folks, both at the district and City Hall, and we're asking for for approval by the HSBC at this time.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions on this item?
Mr. Chair, this is Nat, the Director of Operations for the City of Hartford. I've got a couple questions if you would allow.
Yes, I will allow that.
Great. So just a point of clarification, in the recommendation here, the report is listed as a purchase order to Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management, but then on the prior page you talk about CAN or CNA. Can you clarify for everybody what the appropriate, who the award is going to?
I believe CAN is the carrier, but Gallagher is the agent for that carrier.
Okay. Got it.
Thank you.
Jack, and for the record, that CAN should be CNA. That's a typo.
Okay. Thank you, Sal, for clarifying.
And then I guess, you know, obviously there's a little bit of a discrepancy in what was budgeted versus what we got back. And so I guess I would just ask, you know, for future projects, will you be taking this solicitation into consideration for how to give guidance for what the builder should budget, or what we, you know, the construction committee, school building committee should include as budgets for risk?
Yes, we do. We do use historical data as a basis to build the budgets, and you know, between the changes in the project and the changes in the market since Weaver, which was our precedent project, as well as the purchase of the insurance for MLK, both of which are a bit older than what the market forces are at this point, caused us to be slightly over on the school portion.
Got it. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gale. Any questions or comments on this item? Okay, hearing none, motion to approve.
So move, TJ Clark.
Thank you. Second.
Second, Craig Stallings.
All right, this item is moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Next item.
Thank you. Next item regarding the Buckley High School renovation is Amendment 1.1 to Newfield construction. This is the incremental portion of the guaranteed maximum price for construction that pertains to Phase 5, which is the abatement and demolition effort for the school itself. Those items have been recently bid. A portion of it was rebid as the numbers were above what we had been able to award to a single minority set-aside contractor. The scope of work for site improvements was broken into two pieces and put back on the street. The total value of this project, of this portion, with the general conditions costs that are associated, is a total of $11,110,722. So that's hard costs for construction as well as general conditions. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order or bid review subcommittee, I should say, and we ask the HSBC's endorsement.
Thank you. Any questions on this item? Hearing no.
Did we lose Melvin?
Hi, Jack, can you hear me?
I hear you now, yes.
Yes, okay. Any questions or comments on this item?
No questions from me.
All right. And Mr. Stallings is unmuted, so very good.
No
motion to approve? No questions. Okay, thank you. Motion to approve?
So move, TJ.
Craig Stallings.
Second, TJ Clark.
Sorry, TJ.
Moved
That's
and
all right.
Mr. Stallings moved it. Mr. Clark seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? All right, this item passes. Next, please.
Thank you. Next item is a purchase order increase regarding moving and storage costs for Buckley. Purchase order increase number 5 to William B. Meyer. There are additional items that the school has been able to identify as being worthy to salvage as big ticket items that we would not need to purchase down the road or that we can use in the swing space areas in the interim. So we have exceeded the cost that was in the purchase order and are asking for an additional $45,578.49 to cover the cost of salvaging these items that had value worthy of saving and not being left in the building as part of the building cleanout. So we've presented this to the change order committee, who have given their approval, and we're asking the HSBC's endorsement.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions about this item?
Right. Yes, just one question.
Yes.
Go ahead, TJ.
No, go ahead, Craig.
I was going to ask, what items is he referring to?
Can either Sal or Antonetta, provide a recap of the type of additional items that we've been salvaging?
I can check. We have had Myers come in and disassemble and move to their facility in Windsor. All of the units in the library, all of the bookshelving units, tables and chairs. We have also made arrangements for them to store things like the existing scoreboards and some audio-visual equipment. and then just some miscellaneous items. But the thought here is that the expenditure for removal and storage of this equipment will save us into the hundreds of thousands of dollars by not having to repurchase.
Jack, that is correct.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, motion to approve this item.
So move, Craig Stallings.
Second, TJ Clark.
Sorry. This item has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, thank you. Next item.
Thank you. Next item is a purchase order increase to Tecton Architects for the professional services connected to the buildings and grounds facility roof replacement. We are moving towards the release of the documents for bid, and in preparing for the work to move forward, the environmental consultant, who is a sub to Tecton, needs to be brought on board to do the observation of the abatement that is a part of the project scope, in order to have them available for testing and inspection services during construction. A value of $14,756 is to be added to Tecton's purchase order. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order committee, and we're asking the HSBC's endorsement.
All right. Thank you. Any questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So move, TJ Clark.
All right.
Second, Craig Stallings.
Very good. This item has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right. This brings to a close our action items, and we can move on to the project status reports.
We do not have a written report for Weaver since the work is essentially complete, but Sal, if you would give us just a brief verbal account of where we stand with the closeout work, as far as some lingering items of work as well as the closeout process.
Certainly. We had 3 outstanding items to bring us to full completion and closure at Weaver. Unfortunately, they were all exercises that needed to take place outside the building and were all affected by climate and temperature. That being said, one of the items is complete in its totality, and that is the touch-up painting of some of the window frames that were identified as having been scratched during the construction process after they were installed. So that has taken place. The other had to do with some masonry remediation, and that work is about 75 to 80% complete. We expect that they will be done within the next week to 10 days. And then the last item is the application of a high-tech sealer on the loading dock platform. And that's a process that required temperatures remain above 50 degrees in the evenings. So it looks as though we are beyond that point. And the contractor has committed to having that work completed by the end of this month. So by May 31st, we should have all of the outstanding items complete, and we'll be able to finalize the closeout on the project.
Thank you, Sal. Are there any questions from the committee regarding Weaver?
No, I just have a comment that the school looks good, and it seems that all the fields are being utilized, which is great.
Second.
Thank you. Moving on now to MLK. Brian was unable to join us today, so I'll provide a summary of the report. The committee members have the full report in their packet. We, about 3.5 weeks ago, celebrated the completion of the gym and auditorium with a special ribbon cutting event, which was a real high point for the project to really check the box on construction completion for the base scope of the project. The project has been in full use since school, except for the auditorium and gym, has been in full use since school opened in August. And we're also well enough established now that we should be able to turn over the fields to school use as well. We continue to proceed with project closeout with various subcontractors. As you saw from the number of change orders, we still have some folks who have documents in the pipeline for action. We're hoping that all change orders can be processed by June. Best case at the June HSBC meeting. Worst case, we might either ask for a special meeting or do the final processing of financial transactions at the July meeting so that we can tabulate the final costs of the project and advance the project to state audit. With the work at Weaver, just to digress for a moment, as Sal was saying, we'll be in a position to do financial closeout on those remaining subcontractors and also put Weaver into the hands of the auditors. At this point, we have some remedial work through punch list items at MLK. I believe that's under 50 items that are still left open. And we are working on a couple of warranty items as far as building systems are concerned. But in large part, the building has met expectations. We're doing a couple of owner requested security enhancements as the manner in which the building is being used is a little bit different than what was put on paper in the design phase. But we're accommodating that real world activity with a few final change order items regarding security and safety. So overall, the job is in pretty good position to wrap up, if not by the end of second quarter, at the very beginning of third quarter of this calendar year. Are there any questions regarding MLK?
I do have a question. I unfortunately missed the ribbon cutting of the auditorium and the tour. How can I get another tour? How can I get a tour, actually?
I would suggest at this stage of the game, contacting the principals directly.
Okay.
I know that I believe the students are still on partial days on Wednesdays. So I think a Wednesday afternoon during normal business hours would probably be the easiest thing to schedule. So it wouldn't impact education.
I agree, Jack. Hi, this is Sherry. I can certainly help with that request. So just send me your dates of availability and I'll work on scheduling that for you.
That sounds good. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay. Moving on. Let's see, we'll have to scroll through the report. Next up in the sequence is Burns. Nothing to report beyond the presentation that you received earlier in the meeting, other than to say that the project remains on budget based on the final scope of work and the revised budget that was agreed to several months ago. So we're still on track, and our hope is that the construction market forces will not be worse than what has been anticipated by the estimators as we verified our documents. So we should be in pretty good stead at Burns. Moving on to Buckley, both the school and the district support facilities. Sal, would you provide any highlights beyond what's in the written record?
Probably just to bring everyone up to speed in terms of where we are with contracting for the next phase. The abatement and demolition. And then there's some minor site work that's taking place as well. To date, the only one of those contractors who has been on board has been the temporary fence contractor, who has installed the temporary fence around both the Board of Ed parking area and then around the perimeter of the site as well. The next contractor in will be the demolition contractor, who's going to come in and cut in some holes in the existing floors for the installation of trash and materials removal from the building. Once that's complete, we'll do a building clean out. That contractor is expected to take about 3 weeks to empty the remaining left behinds throughout the building. And then the building will go into, call it lockdown. The abatement actually will take place and is expected to take a couple of months to complete. And then we will get into the selective demolition. And that's pretty much where we're at this point in time. The design development documents have been completed. The preliminary attempt at reconciliation has been complete. We've continued to meet to address some budget issues, do some value engineering. And once that's complete, we will present to school choice and facilities, HSBC, the advisory committee, and the Board of Education for their review and approvals to technically move forward into the construction document phase.
Any questions of Sal by the committee? All right, hearing none. Would CAP like to touch on their report document?
Hi, yes, thank you. Our report highlighted most of what Sal just reported to the group. We do want to mention that CAP completed the inventory and photo documentation of the items collected from the alumni and historical centers. And we developed a transmittal, and that's been submitted to central administration. And we're just waiting back for direction from them. Also to note, we've revised our monthly report. We broke it up into 2 parts to delineate the 2 state project numbers for change orders presented each month, along with the change order totals to date for each project number. And if there's any questions, that's all I have.
Any questions or comments from the committee? All right, moving on. Kennedy assassinated. Oh, there you go. Yes, we do have some historical documents.
Yes, we sure do.
Moving on, next report touches on the buildings and grounds facility roof replacement. The documents have been presented to the Office of School Construction Grants. There are a few adjustments that are being made at their request, and we expect those documents to be submitted in the next day or so, after which we will get the green light to put this on the street for bids, as the committee had permitted when we asked for approval of the drawings. And we do expect the construction of this roof replacement effort to proceed in the summer of 21. Long awaited, Claudia will be able to put his umbrella away when he sits at his desk. So are there any questions regarding the buildings and grounds roof? All right, Mr. Chair, that concludes our reports as a portion of this agenda.
Yeah, I see that we don't have a report for the unequal opportunity status report, and that is because of the continuing issue with the systems. Is that right?
To that end, the work at Burns and Buckley in the last month or months has not resulted in any measurable amount of construction labor, and we are stepping away from the legacy program that had been used, the one that has had the glitches that were preventing the updated final reports for MLK and Weaver to be issued. There's a new platform which was approved at the previous HSBC meeting, which is also the platform used by the city of Hartford. The way that platform works, as you were probably informed at the last meeting, is that it's in essence on a subscription basis based on the dollar value of construction that's being recorded in that system. So that platform training occurred last week. I believe contractor training concluded on Friday to allow the contractors who will be proceeding with the phase 5 work at Buckley to be informed on how to use this recording platform. And so all certified payroll data will be recorded electronically in this new platform, which will make it much easier to administrate those reports than the legacy program that was not only cost us on a per seat basis for users, but also had to be administrated through the MHIS department of the city. So now this is a third-party platform that, as I mentioned, procurement at City Hall also uses, and it was determined to be more efficient to basically create a license for the HSBC projects rather than piggyback and then have to reimburse for the cost of the use of the program through purchasing. So as phase 5 moves forward, we will have immediate access to the data on a month-to-month basis, which will make our reporting not only more consistent, but also more accurate than what we had experienced in the past.
Any questions on the equal opportunity employment report? Okay. We still have project closeouts report.
Project closeouts, I will go back to the agenda document and give me a moment to scroll through here. Project closeout. As was shared at the last meeting, we do have a number of projects that have come off of that document since the last meeting. As last month they were reported as being closed through the audit process. There are 11 items that are still open, ranging from pathways to technology magnet all the way through the code work at Betances that are still awaiting the draft, either the draft audit report or awaiting the city's response to that draft report. As I mentioned, there were, I believe, 4 projects that came off the report, having been reported as completed and closed at the last HSBC meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Gale, if you're still with us, do you have anything to add?
I do not, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other, before I go to other business, just wanted to ask Stan whether anybody from the public had commented. And I have not received any emails. So is there any other business before this committee?
We have no further business today, sir.
Committee members, any other business? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn.
So move, TJ Clark.
Again.
Second, Craig Stallings.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chairman Colon, can I just interject? I thought there was going to be a discussion about the return to in-person meetings.
So let me go back on that vote. But did you say tonight? I'm sorry, or Sal, can you repeat that, please?
I thought you had mentioned at the beginning of the meeting that there was going to be a discussion about the return to in-person
thank
HSBC
you.
meetings.
Actually, I wanted to make sure that we, before I did that, I gathered the facts on the city's policy. I sent out an email earlier, and also on the, yeah, just to make sure that we were all in sync with that before I brought it to the committee. But thank you for raising that. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
so
and
we will be.
yeah, I'll just say, Chair Cologne, I saw your note. I'll send you, you know, the City of Hartford's sort of latest information. I would say certainly this should be an item agendized for next meeting, you know, sort of what the action is for this group moving forward as in-person versus virtual. So I would just ask Jack and your team to note that as an agenda item for next time.
Very good. We'll put that under administrative items.
Thank you very much. And thanks, Al, for reminding us. And we've already moved and voted to adjourn. So